Welcome back, America. More headlines from this indictment. We've been going through it here during the commercial break. There are 6 co-conspirators, all unnamed, mentioned in the indictment, 4 attorneys, 1 consultant, and 1 Justice Department official. We're beginning to get a sense of what Jack Smith's theory of the case, and why not bring in one of our best legal experts. He's the founder and president of the Article 3 Project. He used to vet judges for their nominations to the court. He is our good friend, Mike Davis. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Mike, I want to ask a little bit, just your top line reaction to this indictment. The day after we get a bombshell on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, boom, another indictment, indictment number 3 on Donald Trump.
It is predictable and predicted. This is bogus political lawfare to go after Trump for the non-crime of objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. Twisting arms politically is allowed by the First Amendment. It's only a crime to object to presidential elections in third world Marxist hellholes or in Jack Smith's Washington, D.C. as of today. Democrats objected to presidential elections, Republican presidential wins in 1968, 2000, 2004, and 2016. They were not indicted. But today, Jack Smith is bringing this bogus legal theory to go after Trump for objecting to a presidential election. Jack Smith is used to getting overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court, like he did with Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, a 2016 likely Republican presidential candidate, but the damage was done. The court reversed several years later and took out Bob McDonnell politically. That's the play here by Jack Smith. They're trying to take out President Trump politically because they fear they can't beat him in 2024.
Well, and Mike, they would deny that. They would absolutely stand firm in their belief that these charges are completely warranted. And it seems that there's some surprise, the fact that President Trump's poll numbers keep rising. What I don't think they understand is that there is this holistic American opinion right now that there's no faith and no trust in our federal government. And it's almost like a Chinese finger trap. The more they do this, the more that they bolster that opinion of the American people.
Yeah, I don't know what Merrick Garland and Jack Smith are thinking here. They're going to bring this bogus legal theory in Washington, D.C. Trump won less than 6% of the vote in Washington, D.C. So it's like 95% Trump deranged. You have these uniparty judges and this partisan political prosecutor, Jack Smith. If they think that they're going to let a partisan prosecutor, a Trump deranged jury, and a uniparty judge, in this case it's an Obama political hack district judge, if they think that the American people are going to let them decide the next presidential election instead of the American people, they are in for a very rude awakening on November 5th, 2024.
So, Mike, you laid out a lot of the potential defenses, and all of them are very compelling. I want to ask about one that has been raised in the last 24 hours. This is in a state case. It was actually a lawsuit where someone is suing President Trump in Pennsylvania over the January 6th protest. And the state judge in Pennsylvania ruled that the president is protected by the legal doctrine of presidential immunity. It's part of the reason why we have impeachment instead of criminal charges against presidents. That is likely to be one of these issues that could come up in this federal case as well. Tell us a little bit about presidential immunity and why it might be another one of the defenses that could play in this case.
So generally, presidents are immune for their conduct in the White House, with their official conduct while they're in office. And they do that because you don't want former presidents to face $40 million in legal fees like they're doing to President Trump after they leave office. But everything seems to be thrown out the window with President Trump. Sovereign immunity, executive privilege, attorney-client privilege. There is apparently a Trump derangement syndrome exception to every one of these bedrock legal principles that have guided the American Republic for the last 250 years, because apparently President Trump is such a threat to democracy that the Biden Justice Department needs to indict their boss's chief political enemy and number one political rival instead of letting the American people decide whether he should be in the White House on November 5th, 2024. The only way this is going to get resolved is by the presidential election. You're going to have D.C. Democrat judges and D.C. appellate judges rule against Trump, the American people will have to resolve this on Election Day 2024.
And they'll have that chance in about 15, 16 months. Mike, I don't think we've had you on since Jack Smith announced the superseding indictment in the Mar-a-Lago documents case, this allegation that President Trump ordered the destruction of some tapes there at Mar-a-Lago. But it's my understanding that he turned them over willingly. What's your take on that superseding indictment?
It's more distraction. You see this bad evidence coming out against President Biden that he's clearly compromised, clearly corrupted by tens of millions of dollars in foreign bribes and other corruption from Ukraine, from China, from Romania, from other trouble spots around the world. And it seems like just on cue, Jack Smith brings a superseding indictment, or after Devin Archer testifies yesterday, they bring this January 6th indictment. This is lawfare against President Trump. It's bogus lawfare against President Trump. They fear they can't beat him, so they're trying to take him out legally.
Mike, I want to drill in a little bit on Devin Archer and Hunter Biden, because it was a dramatic day yesterday, a consequential day, and even today's indictment can't take our eye off that ball. There is a clear synergy between what the informant learned from Burisma officials and gave to the FBI and what Devin Archer said. The similarities are Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were a pair. They came as a brand, as a twofer, and that Hunter Biden's job was supposed to be get rid of Shokin, which, oh, by the way, his dad ended up doing. How important is it that two very different witnesses from different sides tell almost an identical story?
Well, it's very compelling. It shows that there is smoking gun evidence that Joe Biden ran a foreign corruption scheme as the vice president of the United States. He was on 20 phone calls with Hunter Biden's shady foreign business associates, his foreign business dealings. They changed American policy. They threatened to cut off $1 billion in U.S. aid to Ukraine if the Ukrainian president didn't fire the Ukrainian prosecutor investigating Burisma and the Bidens. House Republicans must move forward immediately with impeachment proceedings against Merrick Garland, and I know Cash disagrees with me on this, but against President Biden. We have a corrupt and compromised president of the United States, and the American people need to hear about this.
Mike Davis, as always, you give us such clarity and such crisp answers. We're always so grateful for your analysis. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.